Okay. Pulled a lot of this stuff together over the last week. Pretty much everything really has come together. One of the biggest eye-openers out here is that everything is done by a letter of credit, okay? You just don't realize that you've been doing a lot of letter of credits out here. Everything that the bank does is a letter of credit. Your account with the utility company, when you sign up, it's a letter of credit. Everything is done by letters of credit. The driver's license, the certificate of title to your vehicle, they're letters of credit. Now, in most cases, all of these letters of credit that we have done, okay, have been letters of credit, and we set up a bailment, and it was a bailment for hire. The court or the banks, the government, the utility companies, they all became a bailee for hire. Now, they either used our, got access to our accounts at the Treasury to write bonds, and that was the bailment that basically we placed up there, or like at the bank, you have a checking account and a savings account. Those are basically letters of credit. But in a lot of cases, they've got you putting credits into those accounts. Mm-hmm. Even though you have the FDIC there insuring each one of those accounts, and the FDIC is writing bonds and liens against your assets in the background. You just don't know it. And so they're making, for all the dollars that you put in there, basically, then that gives the FDIC authority to write bonds against that, to hire those items out. Okay? The 1040 form, what does it say? It says it's a tax return. It doesn't say a tax payment form. It says tax return. Okay? When they took the gold and silver away from us, basically they had one other form of exchange that they could do in this maritime system. And this is not prevented by the Constitution, because the maritime system is not covered by the Constitution. And that item that they're using is basically called a bill of credit. So all these bills that we get, that we think are bills for payment, they're really bills of credit. That they're giving us credits that we have to, that we can either cash in or we turn around and accept them and return them back as a payment for the services that we got. I had Tom post that up, but I did a rewrite of that document up and had it posted up there about how you do bills. Okay? So you would write that on there. You're coming in as the bailor, okay? You're the bailor in this process. And the bailor has the authority, okay? Return accepted for set-off of services rendered per your bill of bailment for hire credits owed per my letter of credit bailment for hire account. That's laying it right on the line. Wow. Because that's what's done. Now you go into court. How come the judge and the prosecutor and all those guys are bar members? Because they're Bailee arbitration representatives. This whole thing is covered under maritime transactions and under the Arbitration Act. That is a federal statute providing for the arbitration of disputes. So basically, the arbitration of a dispute is between the bailee and the bailor. The bailment is the middle person in there.
Bill Smith.
About time you got here.
Yeah, okay.
So that's what's going on in all these court cases. It's the bailee arbitration representative is sitting over there and trying to prosecute you in the process. But you're the bailor. You have to turn around and turn the tables on the bailee representative because you've got the authority. You're telling to pull the credits out of the bailment that is sitting there. This is also covered all the way back to basically the 5th Congress, Session 2, Chapter 49. Okay? The Act providing for relief of persons imprisoned for debts due to the United States. And they're trying to get you under a fraudulent condition and throw you in jail. Because they're trying to get you to basically argue the point, like all these patriots have been doing out here, because they don't know the money system. I said all along that people don't even know how and what their own banking system is all about. And they don't. Because they don't know that when you sign up for that savings account and that checking account, that those are letters of credit. You don't know anything about banking. You're just pouring some water in a kettle and basically letting it boil off. The whole scenario about this bailee-bailor scenario in for hire is basically you have a car and you want to fill it up with gas. Well, you've got to go to a gas station that has a 1-inch nozzle to fit your gas tank. So you go to the gas station. Well, the gas station doesn't have any gas there right now. So what do they have to do? They have to wait for the tanker truck that has a 4-inch nozzle to fill their tanks up. Then they can pump it out for a price into your car. Well, see, that's what the Bailees For Hire are doing here. We own the tanker truck, and we own the automobile. But yet we've got this middle gas station here sucking off part of our assets. So what do? You turn around, you terminate all these bailments for hire, and you set up a bailment gratuitous with the clerk of the bankruptcy court. Now you're dealing, now you've made a 4-inch adapter to a 1-inch adapter, or to one, so that you can come right off the tanker truck into your car and fill it up. And lo and behold, the tanker truck can run around behind you, and every time you run out of gas, they just fill you back up. So you don't need that gas station any longer. You don't need these middlemen. There's other ways around all of this. Once you understand how this system really works. I gave you a court case statement. Okay? Now, on the first line, you might want to reword that. I've got a couple changes there already. I'm here today as the bailee/owner in this case to give it a just bar settlement. Okay?
You mean Baylor/owner?
Baylor/owner.
Okay.
What did I say? Bailee?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Baylor/owner. To give this a just bar settlement. Okay, and it's a Bailee arbitration representative settlement. We don't owe anything per se, but we have to come in and basically we have to authorize the credits to be pulled out of the bailment account at different times. If you do not come in this arbitration, and that's what all these court actions are, okay? 99% of all court action involve a non-harming government charges. There's been no injured party. So it's all about banking. And all you have to do is come in and give the settlement. You order the settlement. You order the prosecuting agent, who is the charging Bailee For Hire representative, to bring forth the settlement instrument to be known as a bill of credits so that you can issue your Baylor's endorsement to release the credits. Case settled. Now, if the agent refuses to bring forth the bill of credits, then there is no valid charge, and that agent then is in contempt of this court, bringing a fraudulent arbitration into the picture. And at that point in time, he's going to have to make a full restitution to you as the bailor. You've got the power. You just don't know that you've got the power because you don't know who you are. And 90% of all these bailment for hires that are with the government are controlled by the witch, an evil witch. The secretaries. In my case, my military, Secretary of the Navy, the Social Security and the passport, United States Secretary of State, my driver's license and everything else controlled by the Secretary of the State of Iowa. Our certificate of live birth, bailment, is controlled by the Secretary of the Interior. Your baptismal item that basically allowed, and items that allowed the Church of Rome to have come in as a creditor for the bankruptcy of the United States Corporation. It's the Vatican Secretary of State that is controlling that. I got it addressed in two of these faxes that I sent to Tom. Okay, one going to the district trustee, and then I gave you an example of my fax going to the Secretary of State, my Secretary of State for the Iowa. Everything in this country is done voluntarily. So you volunteered in, you can volunteer out. You are not bound to stay there. But you have to know what you're volunteering out of. And see, everybody's been running around here with trust and all this garbage out here saying you're a trustee. No. It's the Bailee scenario, and you have a bailment, and you're the bailor. And the bailor is the one who has the control over that bailment, even though it's in the hands of a Bailee for Hire. Because you volunteered it in, you can unvolunteer it out. And basically, it's a marriage. The bailor is the man. The Bailee is the female. And the Wizard of Oz said, "Oh, you liquidated her." Well, basically, the Bailee for Hire got liquidated. The evil witch. Now some of these things start making a little sense out here in the movies that we've seen. But it's pretty simple, straightforward. For court cases, I tried to give you a simple little document. You can take that right in with you. You can read it right there. And you best know what you're saying when you do it. And then at the very end, in number 5, you can say, okay, now we got that settled. I'm going to, as the bailor, I'm going to order my voluntary liquidation of the position of Bailee for Hire and the termination of this bailment for hire contract. Take care of this. You owe me all the property, all the bailment credits and property that has been taken by that bailment. And it's got to be returned to me in 3 days. See, you're operating in banking law now. No other law out there. Simple, straightforward banking law. Bailee, bailor, bailment, creditor, and debtor. Your bailment is a creditor. You're not the creditor. It's the bailment that's the creditor, and then when they place a lien on it, then it turns it into a debtor. That's the fraud that they try and perpetrate on you. See, now when you do this other one, the U.S. Treasury letter of credit in honor with the clerk of the court, bankruptcy clerk of the court, you place this in there as a bailment. That bailment will never be a debtor. It's always a creditor to give credits out. You put this in, and basically you put your number up there. Your letter patent number is either your certificate of live birth registration number or your selective service registration number. Those are letters patent that gave you access to the Treasury because of services rendered or because of an inheritance by being born here in this country. So, you make up this and you have it with the clerk of the court. So you've got a special number there, your number. Now, you want telephone service. Well, you write up another letter of credit, but down below, you modify the second paragraph, and you're going to say that basically the payments will be drawn from the letter of credit that is held at the bankruptcy court. And this letter of credit is now, like the one I have at the bankruptcy court, is going to be PD-01. The one that I set up at the phone company would be PD-01A. I want one for the electric company. I'd make it PD-01B. And in the contract that I set up, the utility company is more than happy, the financial manager is going to be more than happy to set this thing up. You're probably not going to deal with a front agent. You're going to be dealing in a special capacity with the financial manager, chief financial manager, or whatever, officer. Because he's got a bar card.
Mm.
He knows how to arbitrate items. But the thing is, you're going to basically do away with this 30-day grace period that he gives all these other customers out here to make a payment, because they don't realize that basically they can turn around and make it in 3 days, and all they have to do is turn around and send the bill back, because it's a bill of credits, and they just have to return those bills of credits back to them and give the proper endorsement as the bailor. But you're going to come in and you're going to deal and have when the bill comes in or the payment is requested, you're going to make a payment. They will go directly to, you give them authorization to go directly to the clerk of the court, bankruptcy court, submit their charge in, and it will be discharged within 3 days. Guaranteed. The money's there. The credits are there. It's a guarantee. It's not like everybody else out here. There is no guarantee that basically we're going to get anything back from those other customers. And this is also, I had in the new one that I posted to Tom, okay, I put in 28 U.S.C. Section 1346 and 1491 in there also to go along with H.R. 1491.
Yes.
Because 1346 gives you the local bankruptcy court, and that's where you can turn around and go into that court and draw out $10,000 on the spot once you have your letter of credit in place. You could also do your third-party payments. You send that in, you get like a window sticker off a car, and you send it in to that bankruptcy clerk along with this letter of credit draw document that I have, and basically template, and they will go in and you endorse it. Okay, you're signing it as the bailor, and you're making it out pay to whoever the third party is, and then it's to buy a new vehicle. And then on the back, you endorse it as you are the Treasury bailor authorized endorsement for allowing the U.S. Treasury credit conversion going from the 4-inch nozzle to the 1-inch nozzle. And so then you would also want to put in a special document to basically be attached to the check, to the Treasury check, when they send that out to the third party, so that the third party knows where this Treasury check is coming from and why it's coming from it. Pretty simple.
Mm-hmm.
No trust here whatsoever. I've said all along, there is no trust in this country. So, those are pretty much the documents that I went over, that I sent Tom to go over and post onto the group, and basically what I went over before out here. So, if you go through those arbitration items, and basically you can demand that court come up tomorrow. I need to have this court case, this arbitration, settled now. You're the bailor, you order it. You're going to stymie the court when you come in as the bailor. Yeah, but that's all they are. A bar member is a Bailee arbitration representative. They're all working for the Bailee. So the deck is stacked against you, but you have the power.
Good.
You're the Superman in the deal. Couple items to watch. Basically, you can go watch the 2013 movie, Oz the Great and Powerful. And then basically also watch the new Alice in Wonderland movie. Forget what year that was made, but basically it's a more modern version. And basically what she do, she kills the Jabberwocky. And basically all these bar attorneys are jabber talkers. They couldn't tell the truth if their heart depended upon it. They're born liars. They're taught to lie in college. Of course, they don't know that they're being taught to lie. They think they're being taught the truth, but basically the teachers that are there, they're the ones that are perpetrating on it. But shit, that's the whole system out here is of education and religions and everything else is teaching you a lie. You're living in a lie, in the fictional world. And therefore, you don't know what reality is, really. You think you want to know, and then sometimes people get close and they chicken out. They're afraid. Oh, they're going to come after me. When I was talking to Tom, I dropped my phone, and basically now I don't have any screen picture or anything, so I don't know what phone numbers or anything. I can't get any of my phone numbers. So if anybody wants to call me, they're going to have to call me because I don't know your phone number anymore. I lost all my database. I can't read text mails or anything now.
Excuse me, Thomas.
So basically,
Patrick?
I'm on the way out of the system.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ray, you had a question?
Ray, do you have a question?
You're still going to be like a treasury officer, right?
Yes, you're still a treasury officer. You're a Bailee.
Yeah.
You have access to the credits, okay? And only a valid, and you see, you are a principal. And I've said this numerous times out here before. A mayor, I can. A mayor is a prince. Okay? So you're the prince of, and this is our treasury. This is the prince's treasury. This ain't the king's treasury or the corporation's treasury. This is our treasury. This is the we the people's treasury. So we're an officer. You're one of the officers that has access to that treasury.
Hey, Patrick.
Yes.
I can second that because I've done my research on this, on the banking. The law of the land that was originally created in 1792 is still there, has never been repealed, and it is still current controlling law. So what you're saying is true because the Treasury was created by that 1792 Coinage Act, by the way. If anybody would go read it, you'll find that the Treasury was actually created by it. They're a part of the mint that was created. They're one of the officers or one of the departments of the mint. So they are definitely created by the law. So you're right on that.
Yeah. And see, it's only when we the people come forward, it's not the Congress that basically issues money out of the Treasury. It's we the people. We have to be the ones to authorize it coming out. And that's why that act, the 5th Congress, Session 2, Chapter 49, when you see that, basically right there it tells you that that's your treasury. And that the Good Witch of the North is the Secretary of the Treasury. No shit. We got to have a good secretary here. The evil Treasury Secretary is the Secretary of the Interior. The fraud. Because that one's the one that's really operating with these bailments for hire as a Bailee for hire. You don't need that certificate of live birth. You need the patent, the letter's patent number, the registration number, but that's it. That certificate of live birth is another letter of credit document. It's just like going down and getting another copy of your driver's license. And the driver's license is definitely a letter of credit for hire, placing a bailment for hire, accessing your assets at the Treasury. So I've got 5 documents. If you read that one, I'm sending to the U.S. trustee. I'm sending one into the Iowa Secretary of State, one into the Iowa Department of Vital Statistics, and United States Secretary of the Interior. And then the United States Secretary of State, and then the United States Secretary of the Navy, and then the Vatican Church of Rome Secretary of State. So I've got 5 secretaries. I'm going in and ordering the termination of their Bailee for hire positions with me. And then I'm also sending this pretty much over to the Treasury Inspector General, because that Inspector General is working for the Good Witch of the North. Glenda.
So who is the Good Witch of the North? You said it's the
Secretary of the Treasury.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the real Bailee in the process. But he's a Bailee, a gratuitous Bailee, one who is not for hire.
Mm.
But he does interface a lot with with the International Monetary Fund and stuff like that on the international level. But he's also there as our good witch of the North to try and protect our assets too.
In other words, he wears two hats.
No, he's wearing one hat, okay? But he has to deal outside the country too. He's dealing inside the country, protecting our assets as we the people, but then he's also interfacing at the federal level because the United States government was set up primarily as an international government. It wasn't supposed to be a government over the people. Was it?
No.
No.
No, it's actually a town. I mean,
It
it's
was
actually
supposed to stay within
city.
the 1 square mile or the 10 square miles of the DKM.
Don't worry about that shit. It was not set up to be a ruler over the people. It was to be an interface between the other nations out there, so that all the different states, colonies, weren't out there setting up their own items.
Right. Basically, they were doing what the people couldn't do.
Yeah, and basically controlled the different things so that one state didn't get an advantage and go over there and make a friendship with this country when this state over here was an enemy to that country. Which is what happened in the Civil War. Listen to those audios about the 5,000-year history of setting up the Constitution. You'll learn a lot of why the Founding Fathers set things up the way they did. And it took them quite a while. But everything is there once you understand, and it's very simple, really. When you understand this Bailee, bailor, and bailment scenario, and now you know going on in court what the whole court scenario is, they're just waiting for you to make a settlement. Why isn't there any injured party in these court cases? Because it's a Bailee's charge. They need some funds out of your bailment. Once the credits go into the bailment, the Bailee can't pull them out. Only the bailor can draw them out. The Bailee can basically place a lien against them and write bonds, but if the bonds aren't enough there to cover what needs to be done, then basically they have to pull credits out of the bailment. Does that make sense?
Yep.
And you're the only one that can authorize the payment or the credits to come out of the bailment. So until the credits come out of the bailment is acting as a debtor or being charged as a debtor, where he's really a creditor. He has the credits, but he needs to have somebody be his hands to endorse the release of the credits.
Endorse the release of the credit.
Yes. So that they come out of the bailment. The bailee has no hands of his own. He can't authorize the release of them.
Patrick, isn't that the same scenario as a bail bondsman? Doesn't a bail bondsman do the same thing?
No. They're charging you. That's
Yeah,
a
they charge
completely
you.
different scenario. That's a completely different scenario. Really, it is. That's another third party. That's like you're going to, this guy's driving into this gas station. He's siphoning gas out of that tank at the gas station, and then he's going down and putting it in his own gas station. And so he hasn't paid for anything. And he's got you coming in there paying him.
Right.
That's really what those bail bondsmen and everything are out about.
Yeah, he just stands as surety for you. That's it.
Yeah.
I just noticed you have a folder in here. It says audio. I didn't notice it before. Audio to help understand the dark side.
Well, I don't know who put it up there, but basically everything I've said, been trying to understand the dark side.
Yeah. No, we're going to listen to the 5,000-year leap to the U.S. Constitution.
Well, you should be listening to it right now. Tom's had it up there for a couple weeks.
Yeah. I know, I've been getting through it.
And then basically you've got to go through the word definitions that I put up there.
Yeah.
Understand that one definition is strictly about letter of credit.
Yeah.
And then understand about arbitration. And everything is an arbitration of exchange. Because you are taking assets, gold and silver, out of a treasury. That's the asset that's in the treasury. Now, it has to be converted out here into Federal Reserve dollars, but it's going to be converted into asset-backed Federal Reserve dollars that can't be removed from the system. The debt Federal Reserve dollars have a lifespan of 3 years. I said that for years. And we as a bailor, now if we're operating in their system as a bailor for hire, then we need to have EINs and the other numbers. But really, most of those numbers are applicable to our bailment. They're not ours. We as the living do not have a number stenciled on our ass. Even that letter's patent number isn't stenciled on our ass.
Right, so we got to pull.
But it's stenciled on our bailment. Now, we have the option of either placing it in a bailment for hire or a bailment gratuitous. It's that simple. It's your choice. Read what it says about special deposits.
Okay.
And there can be a gratuitous or naked deposit or it can be a deposit for hire. And then the bailment you're making is basically a letter of credit. Where are the credits coming from? That's all they want to know. Are they going to be guaranteed to come in on demand? Well, if you have, like, I've got one example that basically I got from the state of Iowa, with banks going to this treasurer of the state. It's a 4-page document. No, a 3-page document, letter of credit, and they have to put other items up in the process. Affidavits and everything else. GS-28 forms, you name it, whatever. We don't have to do that because we have a Treasury letters patent number. And that's what we put in. That we have direct access to the Treasury of the country. So ours is solid. How many movies out here have you seen that basically, like in The Wizard of Oz and this new Oz, the Great and Powerful, basically the Treasury, all the gold in the Hobbits and everything, all the amount of gold is sitting there in storage. Why isn't that gold out there in circulation with the people? Hell, this letter of credit system was the same thing that basically was being operated back in Moses' time. All the gold was sitting on the great capstone of the Great Pyramid. It wasn't in the people's hands until basically they left town, and then they went up there and took it down. The Moors took so much of it and came to the west and came on across the ocean over here to America, and the Hebrews went to the east and got lost out there in the desert. Then they tried to make a golden calf. Then Moses got pissed at him and melted it all down on him and turned it into a white powder. But they didn't know what to do with it until basically Solomon came along and built the temple, the great temple that he built, and basically used all that powder to move the stones to build the temple, just like the Egyptians did to build the pyramids. Gold and silver has more powers than being a damn stinking coin. Okay, I don't know how many of you guys have looked over these documents or have even seen them yet. So basically, if you have and you have any questions, it's open for questions right now.
I'm looking at the last page, Patrick, on our letter of credit bailment for hire account. That's not our certificate of live birth. That's the, or is it? Then that account number, our registration number?
The letter of credit that you're putting into the clerk of the court?
Right.
Yes. That's
okay.
Your registration number, your letter's patent number.
Oh, yeah, my letter's patent number, not the PD01 number that was generated.
No, that would, you would have to modify that if you do another letter of credit against that one that you have with the bankruptcy court and give a letter of credit over to the utility company.
Right, that I understand.
That's the one that you would put that number down there, and then you would have a different number up the top.
Good. Okay. And you answered the question that I was going to ask, that when we go down to the bankruptcy courts, do we take the certificate of live birth, or do we give that to them later? And the answer is neither time. We don't ever have to give it to them.
No, you just need the letters patent, and basically you take that into them and give that to them. This document, you don't need that certificate of live birth.
Right.
We're going to shut that down.
Right.
Okay? We know when we were born. We know who our mother and fathers are.
Right. Well, I had that question, but you answered it in what you said already.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We can basically go in and get certified that we are the son of Isabel Hooper or whatever, 25 generations past. Because basically we could have that all marked down in our Bible. That's why you're supposed to have the Bible as your family tree. Your family records. But in most cases, you only need to worry about what you've got right now. You don't even know how much you've got. And basically people are out here trying to worry about getting grandpas and grandmas shit. Hey, how about getting your own shit first, and then basically you might not even worry about getting their other shit. It's all being held in the Treasury. It'll be there for usage down the road.
Yep.
These towers out here, like the Rothschilds and stuff like that, it's power that they want, control. They want to make you the servant to them. They don't need the gold and all that. They've got the documents that basically get you to sign your life away to them. They never put anything up. They're all operating in total fraud. And now when you operate with real silver, you might go and watch the movie Abraham Lincoln Vampire Killer. Because basically when you bring the silver out, basically that kills all the others, the bankers and everything, out of a system. That's really how Andrew Jackson killed the banks, by using the silver, the Treasury. Not operating with letters of credit and basically for hire letters of credit. Any other questions?
I'd say you got it figured out, Patrick. It's like you're getting on the top of the pyramid now.
Yeah, and basically when you understand this, and they all operate with letters of credit, so basically when you start utilizing the right words now, stay away from that trustee and trust and all that other garbage, and you're going into arbitration in those court cases, and you're coming in there as the bailor, and you want to release that. You endorse it over to them and say, here, I'm endorsing this ticket back to you to pay the charges. Now give me the bailment money that I'm also releasing out of that, or that appearance bond. Okay, it's not an appearance bond, it's appearance credits that are going to come out of your bailment. You just have to authorize them to come out. And if the bar, the Bailee arbitration representative refuses to arbitrate, basically then he's the one that's in dishonor and in contempt of court, of this arbitration court. All these courts are arbitration courts. That's it. Why is somebody going to jail for smoking marijuana?
They can make money.
No, because basically these Bailees can put up this fraudulent charge, and the people don't know that they could have turned around and set the charges off.
Right, right.
In this country, a person can't go to prison on trumped-up charges like this. A real person. The only one that can go to jail is basically the Bailee, and they get you to stand in for the Bailee or for the bailment.
Yeah. Yep. That's the crime right there.
Yeah, you're bailing yourself in now as the bail because you didn't know who you were.
So once we got to get out, we got to make sure we don't make a mistake and get back in and don't get driver's licenses and all that. We need to be ambassadors or treasury officers.
Well, no, you just be a Bailee operating out here with real credits.
You mean bailor.
Everything is done by letters of credit.
Yeah.
So if you don't give a letter of credit for hire, you're not going to get in trouble.
Right.
You give a letter of credit for hire, and basically you probably just screwed up.
So when we get out, we're out, and the cops aren't going to ask for a license or anything.
They haven't got anything to charge.
Yeah. Right. No, not for hire. Right. You're not in.
Yes. And see, they can't charge our bailment that we have, this letters of credit bailment that I put on deposit with the bankruptcy court because it's not for hire. That means nobody can lien that. Period. They can't write bonds or liens against that bailment.
Well, you had it almost right before when you said that you don't want them to be underwriters.
Right.
Same thing.
But I didn't see that everything out here was really a letter of credit.
Yeah, we're the bailor, not the Bailee. Yeah.
Yeah. Now they're the ones that are using our assets for hire, and then putting deposits into our bailment, but we have to pull the credits out of the bailment to pay these extra charges. It's a roundabout way of insurance too, okay? Because the insurance policy, they're writing the bonds, the insurance companies, and then the insurance premiums or whatever, or payments that are really due are being deposited into the bailment. So basically they're getting you under an insurance charge, in a way, a Bailee's charge, that you have violated one of their Bailee's laws. So you can take that template for the one that I did for the Secretary of State of Iowa, and you can send one of those to each one of the secretaries that I have listed on the other one, going to the secretary or to that U.S. trustee. I'm sending 5 secretary faxes out, and I'm sending a fax out Tuesday to the U.S. trustee with a copy of all these secretary faxes, plus a copy of the 2 letters of credit that I placed on file with the bankruptcy court. I'm doing the same thing with the Treasury Inspector General. Do I have any problem with putting those patent numbers out there? No, because basically I'm the only one that can access those patents. But operating in this Bailee For Hire letters of credit, yeah, everybody and their brother could try and attack your system because those people don't know what the shit's going on. Come on, there ought to be some questions out here. I mean, real questions. Comments, rebuttals.
I don't see anything to rebut. It looks very solid. And we have to really work on it to see if there's any slight possibility of improvement.
Huh?
We really have to look at it hard to see if there's any possibility of improvement.
Well, basically you're going to have, when you turn around and make it your own document and rewrite it up, okay, then you're going to, you may want to reword it slightly different.
Yeah.
I wouldn't change it too terribly much because you might tend to lose the meaning of what's going on there.
I tend to make it slightly different. I may break the sentences up, but have exactly the same meaning.
Yeah, and basically, this is all voluntary, okay? Everything you've done out here was by volunteer.
Right.
You had the choice. And basically people cry, no, I didn't have the choice. You had the choice to learn why you didn't have to do it. But you didn't find out why you didn't have to do it, and you went ahead and did it anyway. And then you bitched and moaned and said, well, basically I was forced to do it. No, you volunteered. Because if you had the free choice beforehand, you can't turn around and claim that it was forced later on.
Hey, Patrick, got a question.
Yeah.
What would you say in cases where one signed a notice of surrender to the Department of Licensing when they terminated their driver's license? And on that notice of surrender, according to their application, which was never provided at the time of initial signing, has Social Security number, birth certificate number on there, passport number. Seems like the master document that ties all the accounts together is that application for a driver's license. So if we have a notice of surrender, or if one has a notice of surrender that's been filed, how would that affect one's using any?
You surrendered it. You did not terminate it. Okay? That's what I'm saying. You need to read this letter that I sent into the Secretary of State for Iowa here. I am terminating the bailments, voluntarily terminating and voluntarily liquidating that Secretary of State as a Bailee For Hire. See, when you liquidate the Bailee for Hire, now the bailment has to come back to you because there's no Bailee there. That was what Dorothy did in The Wizard of Oz. She liquidated the Bailee. She was the bailor. And then she got the broomstick, the bailment. But she had her ruby slippers the whole time. And that was her access to the treasury.
Yeah, but didn't the witch trying to get her to give her the ruby slippers?
Yeah, tried to get Dorothy to give up her access to the treasury. But see, Dorothy couldn't, as long as she was alive. Remember that statement in the movie? The only way that the witch was going to be able to get the shoes off her was if Dorothy died. Don't remember that part, do you?
No.
But yet they still can't access the treasury. And that's basically when they turn around, they put the death certificate in place, and they set up another bailment out here in the process, another letter of credit.
Wow. So it sounds like no matter how late somebody is to the game, they have all the credits always available. They just have to go about it in the right way. Because these foreign entities can't take our estate. They can only write bonds or liens and bailments and try to get us to consent to their service.
Yeah, and then basically take the assets out of our back pocket. They're bloodsuckers. They're vampires. That's where they make their money, is what comes out of our back pocket. And then, like I said, everything that all these bills that they send us, they're not bills of payment, they're bills of credit. Just like the 1040 form, it's a tax return, it's not a tax payment. But see, we didn't know how to go about utilizing it as a tax return properly, and we were always trying to hide everything away so that we didn't have to pay taxes. Because that's what everybody was taught, that's really, you have to pay taxes because of that. No. You can't be taxed upon your labor. And see, our bailment out there is what owes the taxes to be returned to us. It's an accessing the bailment. So when you come in as the bailor, you put a claim in for that funds. So that's only if you're staying in there in a for hire bailment system. But if you close all these down, they've got to liquidate them now and give you all the bailment back, because there's no longer a Bailee for hire sitting there. You just divorced the witch. Or the bitch, however you want to look at it. Now you're free to do what you want to do and not be under their control. Now, you want true freedom? You have to operate out here with a letter of credit that is not for hire. Then you are truly free. I don't hear anybody jumping up and down with joy out there. You'd think somebody would have just fallen off the chair or something like that. I haven't even heard that.
I've been jumping for joy ever since you produced a letter of credit thing.
I'm jumping for joy. This is Malik out in Washington State. I've been working with a group of people, and, we're definitely pushing forth the letter of credit. I know someone who's been pushing forth negotiable instruments, and they're actually going through. And the reason why they've been working successfully is that he issued a letter of credit initially. So, this letter of credit is just perfect for the process. And going back to the notice to the U.S. trustee, this works in conjunction with that, right?
In a way, it does, but basically I would stay away from those other instruments, and basically the only instrument you'd do would be this one that I had Tom post up here, this letter of credit draw. You draw from your against your letter of credit that's accessing the Treasury. And I don't know how many of you people have ever gone up to the bankruptcy court or to the federal courthouse and basically take a look at the parking lot and say, where in the hell are all these damn employees? I only see 2 or 3 clerks whenever I go in there, and basically I know that there's so many judges here and a couple of attorneys. Where in the hell are all these other people here? 2 U.S. Marshals, maybe, and that's about it. But I mean, like when you go up there, 700 cars in a damn parking lot or whatever. I mean, there must be 700 people there. Well, I didn't cover probably even 100 people. So where's the other 600 people, and what are they doing? That's the questions you have to ask. You've got to open your eyes to see things that are really out there. Now, I expect something to happen basically come Tuesday morning when they basically open up those envelopes and to clerk to the court's office there and see those letters of credit. I expect a few people that walk these things in, and if you walk it in, take 2 copies in, signed and sealed and everything, and you give them to timestamp both copies and give you one back. See, otherwise, I can reference my certificate of mail number for that certificate of that letter of credit that I have on file. So when I go to the utility company, I will reference her certificate of mailing number and the letter of credit number.
So that would be the advantage of sending it in rather than walking it in.
Well, you're walking in, you're going to get a timestamp, and you got a copy of it.
Right. So I can give them a copy of that, too.
Well, you don't give the utility company a copy of it because you don't want them to have your patent number.
Oh, okay.
They don't need to have your patent number.
No, just our
They just
number
need
we
to know that
assigned.
there's an account there that basically, and you would put down that this was deposited on this date, time and everything, time stamp. You put that information on your letter of credit when you go in and make up your letter of credit A, B, or whatever.
Right. Got it.
Okay?
Yep.
You put all the identifying information that you need to identify your letter of credit that's on file.
Okay, I'm ready to do that.
Anybody else have any questions, comments? Like I reiterated, okay, if you guys have any questions or you have a group or something like that, you're going to have to call me, okay? Because basically my phone here, I can basically sort of hope I type in the number right and try and make a call, but I don't have any window screen anymore. So I don't know where the numbers are or anything like that to try and call out.
Excuse me, Patrick.
Yeah.
Just to let you know, you can take the telephone back to where you actually purchased it, and they can do a withdrawal. They can withdraw the information out of it via USB cable onto a flash drive, and then you can insert the flash card directly or the SD card directly into your new phone. But your information
is Dollar General, and basically they couldn't do that there.
Right. Those are
yeah, this is one of those throwaway phones, okay?
Right. That's what I work with.
Okay. Then I apologize.
No, there's got to be a way around it, okay, to get to the memory, okay? The stuff is still in the memory. It's just that the screen is not working. So basically there's a way. So down the road, when I get out and have the funds, I'll go take it to somebody that basically I can do. But in the meantime, I have no screen, so don't send me any text messages or anything. And if you want to talk to me, you're going to have to call me.
Okay. I'll call
because I don't have your phone numbers anymore.
I'll call track phone support and see how we can transfer that.
Huh?
I will call track phone support and see how we can transfer that. If you have one of the $15 phones?
I don't know what type phone it is, okay? I'm not worried about it right now, okay? I can live with this until basically I'm out of the system. I should be out of the system before this month is up.
Great.
3 days. Death and resurrection. You send your stuff in the Secretary of State Monday or Tuesday morning, and basically they got 3 days to get you out because you just terminated their position of Bailee.
Oh, you think you want to feel about it? You think you want to feel about it? All right.
Hey, got another question for you.
Yeah.
How about what if one puts in the paper a notice of termination of all bailments, so that's on public record, so there's no questions?
No. Why do you need to do that? You go to the source. Be like Neo in the Matrix. You have to go to the source to where your problem's at. Okay? You don't place a notice in the paper to close down your checking and savings accounts, do you? You go to the bank. The bank is the Bailee. So your driver's license and everything, you have state-issued items, they're under the Secretary of the State. If you have a military bailment for hire, you have to go to the appropriate secretary out there. In my case, it's the Secretary of the Navy. You have a passport, you have Social Security, you go to the Secretary of the United States Secretary. And see, when you come in and your letterhead is being addressed as a letter of credit or letter of bailor's bailment termination and Bailee's termination, those words will jump out at them. Those words are on the Homeland Security's hit list.
Mm.
I'm only joshing you. I don't want you to get scared and be afraid of this shit. That basically, they're words that basically they stand up and take notice from. I mean, did they take any notice when you tried to make them the trustee or all this other garbage that people have gone into courts with? No. Telling, well, there's a trust out here. There is no trust in this country. The only trust is in God, and God is you. So start trusting in yourself. Okay, you little gods. Anybody got anything to say? Just like in the Bible, it says, ye are gods.
Yeah, I have a question here, Patrick, regarding those two U.S. Treasury letters of patent. You have mentioned before that U.S. Selective Service was not one of them, but now today you say it is one? I wasn't too sure about that.
It is one, but basically it's not going to, they can't use that as a bailment for hire.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah, see, the bailment for hire came about with the DD-214 or like in Bill's case, he's got a D4 or something like that. So basically, that is a letter of hire.
Yeah, because they serve.
Okay, and they're honorable. Okay, so honorable, that means there's credit with them.
Right.
Yeah,
the
word honor has credit.
Hmm.
Okay. Thank you. Just want to be clear on that.
Okay. Now, because what is it? Letter of honor or office of honor and office of credit. They're basically the same thing. So credit means honor. Honor means credit.
Yes.
So if you have an honorable discharge out there, then that means you have credits coming.
Correct. Right.
And I've got two of them. So I got double the amount of credits coming.
Why then, logically, after terminating the certificate of live birth, then we should expect a certificate of death. However, that would be in the all capital letter name, and that would be the remainder of the estate.
No, it's not.
Right?
No. You're just terminating these letters patent. You don't need a death certificate. See, the death certificate's another letter of patent that goes into the Bureau of Vital Statistics. That Bureau of Vital Statistics is bullshit. The county record book, they don't need to have a certificate of death and all that. recorded at the Bureau of Vital Statistics. They just need to make an entry, now this person's dead, in the land record book. You've returned to the land. It's all about land, and then it's all about letters of credit. And these letters of credit being used as death and birth certificates, they're letters of credit going through the Secretary of the Interior's Department, through the Bureau of Vital Statistics, or Health and Services, whatever. That's really where they've got the Social Security tied in, is drawing through the United States Bureau of Health and Statistics, or Health and whatever. And that's why it falls back under the control of the Secretary of the State, the United States Secretary of State, in terminating the bailment for those. And the Bailee position. And then if they don't comply, we've got the CID and the U.S. Treasury Inspector General. And it is our right of self-defense to utilize whatever we need to retrieve our bailments out here. And basically, if these secretaries do not comply, we can turn around and write a UCC-1 against them now properly, placing a commercial lien against them in their private capacity. And then we can also prosecute them in bankruptcy. We can be the prosecutor. The bankruptcy court works both ways, both for the bailor and for the bailee. And do they want to pay triple damages and everything? I doubt it. Plus extra charges that basically time and everything you would be able to add on.
You only need a few of us to do that to get real attention.
That's right. But you're going to have the CID and the U.S. Treasury Inspector General under the Good Witch of the North on your side. Now, everybody badmouthed the Secretary of the Treasury. And lo and behold, that's the good witch, just like in the movies. Basically, everybody badmouth, especially in this latest Oz the Great and Powerful movie, everybody was badmouthing Glenda. She was the daughter of the King of Oz, and she was basically the good witch. But basically, everybody in the movie tried to proclaim that she was the bad witch, up until this con artist basically met up with her, and he was the one that was basically being claimed the wizard. So basically, you might want to watch that. There's a lot of good shit in it.
Yeah, I've downloaded it. I need to watch it.
Okay. Nobody else has any questions, comments?
If not, Patrick.
Okay. Call the night.
Thank you very much. Thank you much.
Okay.
Get to work on this.
Thank you, Patrick.
Okay.
Good.
You take
Thank
care.
you, Thomas. Good night.
Thanks, Patrick.